icLAAo. I can't lose. No reality where I lose. Ever. Today is February 17th, 2026, day 48 of the 100 push-up, 100 squat progressive challenge for a year. We're on month 2, so we're doing 110 of each for this month. The message for today is very simple. Less is more. We've all heard this saying since we were born, and it's true that less is more. Don't always be looking to accumulate this, accumulate that, accumulate relationships, accumulate commitments, accumulate material things. Because when you have no space in your life, when you have no space in your mind, you can't think. And when you can't think, you can't progress. When you have so much different things pulling you here, this thing, this commitment, this friend, this drama, you can never focus on your life. So get into the habit of removing things from your life that are not necessary. Even in your personal space, like your bedroom, clear it out of all the things that are not necessary so you can have space. You need to have space. You need to remove things that you don't need from your life and create space. Stop getting in the habit of wanting everything. In life, less is more. Let's go.
Seek consensus, conditioned to announce your dreams in the marketplace, only to be laughed at by those too small to imagine them. And still you return, still you hope, still you bow. This is not kindness, this is mental poverty. Do not mistake fear for virtue. Do not mistake obedience for wisdom. Do not mistake your shackles for moral high ground. In my time, I saw men walk into palaces with a bow and walk out with a knife in their back. I saw flatterers rise and fall faster. I saw kings destroyed not by enemies, but by misplaced trust. The court is not a place for the honest. The world is not ruled by goodness. The world is ruled by strategy, and most are too afraid to admit it. If you want to think like a king, you must understand this one truth. Power is perception, and peasants think literally. They see what is, and assume it is all there is. A king sees what can be bent, what can be hidden, what can be moved behind curtains while the audience stares at the stage. Let me tell you something dangerous. The moment you stop explaining yourself, people begin to imagine, and what they imagine is more powerful than anything you could have told them. This is how kings command without speaking. This is how leaders win wars before the first strike. This is how a single glance can end an argument.
25
But
squat.
peasants, they talk, they post, they flee, they show touch from their rhythm. A king is not formed in noise. He is shaped in quiet rooms, behind closed doors, where doubt wrestles with decision and comfort is starved to feed discipline. He learns to make decisions that hurt and live with them. He learns that not every battle must be fought, not every insult avenged, not every truth spoken, because real thinking, kingly thinking, is not about right or wrong, it's about result. Would you rather be pure and forgotten, or strategic and remembered? This is the tension most cannot bear. The peasant clings to moral high ground, but that ground never builds an empire. The king instead chooses the terrain. He moves in shadows when the sun blinds others. He bends the rules when others are trapped inside them. He understands that control is not about force, it is about belief. If you can shape what they believe, you control what they do. The mind is the battlefield. The belief is the weapon, and most men are too focused on the enemy's sword to realize their own thoughts have been conquered. Peasant thinking believes in fairness. King thinking believes in timing. Peasant thinking wants things now. King thinking waits, not because of fear, but because he knows one move too early is just as fatal as one move too late. Let me give you a truth that your teachers were too afraid to say. You are not rewarded for effort. You are rewarded for leverage. The man who works 12 hours for scraps will always admire the man who moves one piece on the board and takes everything. Why? Because power respects results, not sweat. A king is not. The moment you define yourself completely, you shrink. But the king, he leaves just enough shadow in his outline to become a myth. And myths are immune to assassination. There is a tactic I have used, one that few notice but all feel. It is the art of delayed clarity. When asked a question, I don't answer it, I reshape it. When forced into a corner, I don't resist, I dissolve the corner. When challenged, I don't rise to the bait, I let the bait rot. Because true dominance is not seen in volume, it is seen in stillness under 75. Fire. A lion does not bark back at dogs, he waits until the dogs forget he exists, and then he strikes. You must learn this rhythm. It is the rhythm of kings, and it begins with this core understanding. Your time, your words, and your energy are currency. The peasant spends them freely. The king invests them strategically. Do not explain yourself to people whose ears are not trained to hear power. Do not open your mind to crowds trained to belittle what they don't understand, and do not lower your tone just to fit in. You were not meant to fit in. You were meant to alter the temperature of every room you enter, but that begins with thinking differently. When others rush, you pause. When others share, you conceal. When others react, you recalculate. And when they light on trust, heavy on observation, because real loyalty is not proven in comfort. It is proven in your ascension. If they loved you when you were humble, will they stay when you outgrow their shadow? If they praised your talent, will they still cheer when it exceeds their own? These are questions the peasant avoids, but the king confronts them early, because the king would rather walk alone than walk among quiet enemies. This is the discipline of detachment, a mental clarity so sharp that it cuts through charm, flattery, and false praise. And once you develop it, you cannot be fooled again, because when you think like a king, you no longer need to be convinced. You simply watch, and in that watching, people reveal themselves. Let me tell you a scene. Imagine a lion in the tall grass, still, unmoving, but watching everything. The gazelle thinks it's safe. It sees no motion. It senses no threat. And then a single movement, not a roar, not a sprint, just a shift. And the game ends before it even begins. That is how the king moves. No wasted energy, no loud warning.
110 push-ups.
At the moment when it matters most. But to move like that, you must first think like that. And to think like that, you must remove the disease of approval from your system. You must train yourself to be unaffected by misunderstanding, untouched by insult, undisturbed by delay. Because your mission is not to be liked. Your mission is to be effective. And the most effective men in history were never the most popular. They were the most disciplined. Disciplined in thought, disciplined in emotion, disciplined in speech. They understood that power leaks through the mouth faster than it can be gathered through action. So they spoke less and ruled more. You must do the same. Before you speak, ask, does this expand my influence or drain it? Before you explain, ask, is this for power or for ego? Before you respond, ask, does this bring me closer to the throne or further from it? Because every thought you speak is either a seed or a surrender. And the man who surrenders his mind to the world will be ruled by the world. But the man who masters his mind